Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Tuesday, April 19th, 2011, and this is Day 9 Daily, where we learn to be a better gamer. Today is episode 289. It's Newbie Tuesday today. That's right, Newbie Tuesday, where we take a step back from all the pros and we say, what does it mean to learn all the fundamentals of RTS gameplay? You know what I mean? It's so easy to watch someone like Marine King Prime and be like, oh, he's so great, I want to be like him. But for instance, if you lack fundamental RTS skills such as micro, macro, perhaps you're a penguin and don't have posable thumbs, that's what Newbie Tuesday is for. So that way we can all start scooping in people like grandmothers, other people who don't game, like penguins. Good. Want to spread the love. Today's topic is going to be how to steal a build and how to refine it so that at the end, you suddenly have a crutch that you can use in a matchup. Now, what we did last week in 285 was set up the process that we were going to go through for that. And we used our great friend Notepad! Yes, that's right, because the Day 9 Daily, very much like Mr. Rogers or Sesame Street or Eureka's Castle, how's that for old school? Many of them have characters on the show. Our favorite character is Notepad and Overlay. Very good. So Notepad, we came up with the wrong way. Let's just briefly review what we did last week. The wrong way to steal a build, which is step 1 to get a replay. Load the replay, watch the times, copy times. This is the wrong way to go about it. So, you know, like 9 of 10 pylon, and then 13 of... No, I made that mistake last week, right? I was still on StarCraft 1 food counts, you know, doing things like this. I don't think there's any reason for me to continue to use the uppercase. But people would just do stuff like this. Okay, a symbol... and then they would keep on going down, and then they'd even be doing stuff like 40 Nexus, and then like 41 Pylon, and all this stuff. And we said a whole lot of reasons why this was the wrong way. The first most obvious reason why this is a bad way to steal a build order is because, you know what? What if something happens? What if you get attacked? What if he does something that you're not expecting? And you're just trying to follow this instruction set? Then, you have no flexibility, you don't know what to do. Well, what if, I don't know, you aren't playing perfectly? That's actually the real reason I said don't do this. What if you're not getting the probes dead on the money every time, and not starting things dead on the money every time? Then things can get a little bit off, and suddenly all these times are meaningless. So we didn't want to do it that way. And one of the other big reasons that we don't like that food instruction set is that it does not help us build any understanding at all. We just know what we're doing, but we don't have any intuition as to why we'd be doing that. And I don't even mean anything like really complicated. You know, a lot of times it's like, yes, you must sneak in this unit because if he's doing this one build 2 out of 100 times and you micro it properly, you can defend it. I'm talking simple understanding, like I can't build these gateways now because even though I can afford them, I can't afford to make units out of them when they're done. Simple intuition like that. So what we did is we created an intuitive structure for how to steal a build order, and this was the outline that we did last week. First of all, get inspired. Find a build order style that you like. Again, there's no reason for me to be screaming in the notepads while I use regular lowercase. You don't even need to be capitalized. Get inspired. That was the first step. And then we did create building groups. And we'll talk about that in a moment. We will then add in unit mixes and then refine. So just to do an example that we did before, create building groups. I said you just create groups of buildings based upon what you're seeing. In last week's show, we did 3 gateways, 2 gas, 1 core. Those are all the buildings that we got before we expanded. When we expanded, we just built a nexus. Seems easy enough. And then afterwards, we added 2 more gateways. So we created building groups. We didn't worry about any ordering. We just worried about what were the intuitive things that we saw. And we just tried to copy that, right? And then we said play a few games. And then we said add in the unit mixes that we see. So here was 1 zealot, many sentries. This was the structure that we ended up doing. When we're expanding, we add sentries, 1 zealot. And when the gateways, when we start adding those, add mass stalker. So there, all of a sudden, we have added in the unit mixes for all of these. And we played a couple of games where we did this. And then the last step is to refine, 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 play it down until we can be all exact and awesome and baller and badass. So that was the correct way to go about doing things. And why was that? Well, we start with our buildings because the fundamental idea of build order is to build things in the right order. So let's begin with the buildings. Perfect. Our understanding couldn't be more crisp and clear. And then the unit mixes we threw in afterwards to get a sense of, ooh, I'm kind of starting to see how my money's integrating with this build. And, ooh, I'm doing some gas-heavy units here, some mineral-heavy units over there. Ah. And then the last step, refinement, was just to be a huge badass. Now, good. Now, everyone knows the exact page we're on. I figured it would be rude to say, dear viewers, please stop and watch the hour-long daily 285. Give you that brief intro. So now we can jump into what today's topic is, taking a submission from you and looking at what you did. And we have one wonderful submitter by the name of Senth, who was so amazing in his write-up that we will be focusing on his quest to copy Naniwa's build that he saw in an MLG Dallas game. Yeah, alright, fantastic. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that needs to be mentioned. I'll talk about the Fun Day Monday topics for next week. Did just want to briefly mention FXO's Chef is coming on the show tomorrow for Friend Day Wednesday, so that's going to be awesome. And next week is 2v2 week. Sunday to Thursday, nothing but 2v2s. It's going to be so cool. So, let us first just appreciate Senth a little bit. Looks like I still had the replay loaded up. I just want to guide you to my multiplayer folder that he sent in. Look, Steel Naniwa build, 2 Gateway plus Expo PVT. Here's the replay that inspired him. And look, here are the games of him practicing with the building groups. Here are the games of him practicing with the unit mixes, and here are the games of him practicing refining it down. We're going to watch many of these games and see what the process was. Now, you might be asking yourself, oh, dear Senth, oh my gosh, playing against the ever-infamous Player 2, my mortal enemy, Senth. Senth, who are you? Are you a Grandmaster? No. Master? Diamond? Platinum? Gold? Silver? No! Senth is a Bronze League player! And that's what was so exciting to me when I went through Senth's replay pack, is because first of all it was organized and beautiful, but also Senth is not some sort of genetically engineered super nerd. He's just a bronze level player, right? Anyone can do this. We're going to see Senth do a marvelous job of stealing this build. So let us, again, review Notepad. Okay, thank God, Notepad, you have all those steps outlined for me. Get inspired, create building groups, add in unit mixes, and refine. Let's take a look at the email that Senth provided. Here is the get inspired part. So look at what he wrote. I love this part. I don't like fast, cheesy builds, which Naniwa used in a lot of the MLG Dallas games. There's no GSL Dallas Senth. But still, I don't like fast, cheesy builds. However, there was one match that I really liked where he went for 2 gateway, expand, instead of 1 gateway or 3 gateway, just putting enough pressure on in the beginning. That's the first thing I want to note, right? That he watched this game and said, I don't really like anything cheesy. I kind of like this aggression expand style. There, elsewhere in the email, he even noted that he didn't like very passive games and kind of wanted to do something a little bit fancy. So let's go ahead and load up this game. Again, we're going to pretend that we're Senth, that we're getting inspired. And let's just start going through the game a little bit quickly. Now, ordinarily, I might need to stop and write down some times from this game, but fortunately, Senth did all of that in his email, which we are so totally going to see the shit out of as this game goes on, how amazingly organized Senth was in his notes. And keep in mind, even though he played about 20-25 games, it didn't take him more than 90 minutes to do that. Very, very easy amount of time. Well, perhaps it was closer to 2 hours, assuming the notes. So this is from MLG Dallas. We have VT Poke Bunny in the right corner, an extremely talented Terran player. Looks like he's getting himself a reactor and expanding. And we're seeing Naniwa go for 2 gateways. He's going to be putting on a little bit of pressure, building some probes. Oh, he's chrono boosting away. All right, that's great. He has a probe in the middle of the map. What is Mr. Proby doing? Oh, he's going to be building a forward pylon after just tasting of the rich mineral fields. Not going to take any, just going to... Oh. Thank you, Brotatolol. Bear blank. Now, some of you at home are playing the fill in the blank game, and I want you to know that most of you are winning. That's right. That's right. Thank you, bro, for letting me know. And the sound is enabled. Yes. All right, good. At least I was halfway there. Either way, we're going to see two gateways. Two gateway expand. We're going to see the gas go down. You know, and you might be watching this game, and you might be thinking, man, that's a lot of stuff for VT Poke Bunny. Bum ba da da da, dum da 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 da, eliminating everything. And you might be watching this going, ooh, I kind of like that. That's almost certainly what our good friend Senth did, watching Naniwa, the beastly 26-0 Swede who conquered MLG Dallas seemingly uncontestedly, getting himself, ooh, just a third gas geyser. Oh, forgetting to rally. Oh, I don't want to steal that part of your build, Naniwa. And then we're seeing the robotics facility go down. It gets held off. I'm actually going to move this to ×8 speed, assuming my computer can handle it. Come on, go computer, go computer, go. Continues to mass up a little bit. Begins getting Colossi very quickly. They didn't actually mention the replay site while playing at MLG Dallas, but of course, with the modern day injecting that data sites do, you get a little bit of advertising going on. And hey, look at this. Naniwa, after doing 2-gate pressure and getting an expand, not only is gearing up to take himself a third base, but also is putting on really fast pressure with just 2 Colossi. And look at that. Could not even break through. Oh, what an exciting game. Now, I don't know about you, but if I were Senth, I'd be going, ooh, I like that. Yeah. So this is what Senth, the Bronze League player, did. Senth, the Bronze League player, did. Let's go to his email. He has the unit mixes filled in, but in red, we're going to see, here are his 3 building groups. The important aspect is that he kept it simple. Before his expand, he built 2 gateways, 1 cybernetics core, and 1 gas. And then he built the Nexus, duh, very good, and then he got a gas geyser while the Nexus was building. And then afterwards, we saw 2 more gas geysers, a robotics facility, the Robo Bay, and 3 gateways. Let's actually just go through this replay at ×8 speed and see exactly those building mixes in action. The most important step in any build order is beginning by having a good set of building groups, exactly like what Senth has. Very cool. Again, ignore these unit mixes. Ignore these. So we're seeing, okay, here's the 2 gateways, here's the cybernetics core, here's the gas. And then we're going to see the expand from Naniwa come up very shortly, and there it is. And now I see what he means by the sort of gas, because he expanded and then kind of got the assimilator while his expansion was building. So, thus far, I agree with this group, I agree with this group. And now, we're going to end up inspecting, okay, there's the Robo Facility and the Robo Bay. We end up getting 2 more gases. That's exactly what was listed there. I only see 4 gateways right now, maybe a 5th one goes down somewhere else. Continuing to inspect. Yeah, it looks like a 5th one comes a lot later. Not quite with the other ones, but again, you know what? It's more important to have simple building groups like this, right? Now, note that Senth actually added on a Group 4 and Group 5, but notice that they're actually a little bit grayed out in the email because these are the important parts of the build. That's what Senth did. Now, in the Day 9 method of stealing and refining a build, I suggest that you now play a couple of games just trying to get used to the building groupings. And we're going to start to see some things play out. We're going to end up watching quite a few of Senth's games, so we're going to go through them a little bit quickly. And what we want to point out here is everything that could possibly go wrong. I want to note that Senth is going to be playing at around 30 to 40 actions per minute in this game, even though at the start he's a little higher. I'm going to see Senth just go for those basic building groups. So the first building group, well, I want everyone to keep in your mind, 2 gateways, 1 core, 1 gas. And then he expands. So we're seeing the gateway come down. Here comes the assimilator. You're noticing that there's a Terran player on. That is the dreaded Player 2. Oh, I hate Player 2. He's such an asshole. He doesn't even make any workers. But either way, we're seeing Senth now get his 2nd gateway. And Senth is just gonna make some units, right? Do we care what units? Not really. We're just going to kind of make what we feel like we have money for. There's some chrono boosting going on. And hey, look, there's the expansion going on. Ooh, Senth got supply blocked. Oopsie daisies. Super supply blocked. Can't even make anything. Damn pylons. We're seeing him take his Nexus. Getting another gas. Okay, cool. We saw that his first building group, 1 gas, 2 gates, a core, Got it. We saw the Nexus and the gas go down. Right, got it. So now we've done building group 1, and then we've done Nexus, and adding the second gas, and now we're on to group 3. Things seem to be happening in rapid succession, but I want to note things like our money is getting a little bit high. We're adding on, whoa, look at Synth. Man, and now I want you to note how sensible this is. Right? He's getting the Robo Facility. He's getting more gateways. He's going to be getting the Robo Bay. This is very common when people see a build and they want to mimic it. They just try to get all the buildings as fast as humanly possible. But we're starting to see a couple of things that are going to crop up. We don't really have, or we got supply blocked a little bit. We're noticing some of the rally points aren't set on this Nexus. In the APM, we're seeing the APM at 36. We're starting to warp in more units. Man, we're really low on gas. Yeah, we actually don't even have a guy in this gas geyser. This robotics facility, we don't really seem to be able to do anything with. Oh yeah, we got to get these second gas geysers. Chrono boosting on gateways, sure, why not? And suddenly, you know, we saw Naniwa do a 2-gateway push and then do kind of a big push with Colossus. Here, we didn't do a 2-gateway push, and where are Colossus? They don't even exist yet. Oh my gosh. What we ended up seeing in this game is that Synth got all his buildings so fast, he couldn't build anything. Was missing probes, was missing pylons, was missing units, couldn't even get the frickin', what is this thing called? The robotics bay. Oh, how embarrassing. I couldn't get the word out, but I eventually did. He couldn't even get the robotics bay out. Ugh, feels kind of gross. This was his first game upon seeing Naniwa do this build. Game 1. Game 1, the first game ever that he did. So of course there's going to be a bunch of gross bumps. But that's a very important step, is just to get used to these buildings. And then player 2 cowardly ends up accepting defeat. No big deal. We saw that Synth had a ton of money at the end of that game. We're going to skip over the second dilly-dallying game and move on to game number 3. Again, this is still all part of this part. Create building groups, and what we're watching right now is play 2 to 3 games. Synth did 3. Here's the third one. Let's see what sort of things end up cropping up in this play. So, we're going to watch this game a little bit more closely. That first game, and this is actually pretty important to note, that first game had plenty of blunders, right? I would call it a veritable bucket load of blunders. It did not feel good at all. And this is something that will happen to you when you try to steal a new build. You'll be like, whoa, everything's horrible. I suck at StarCraft 2. And that's good. It's good that you're getting that out of the way against the computer instead of against someone on the ladder that will cost you precious ladder points. You really, really want to get that out of the way. And when the blunders are so massive and gigantic, well then yeah, good news. You can easily just say something like, yeah, just gotta, you know, not pylon block myself. Gotta just get used to it. So it's fine not to scrutinize it that closely. That's why we are not scrutinizing Synth's Game 1 very closely either. But let's watch this game a little bit more slowly. Again, all we're doing in this game is trying to play 2 to 3 games, making sure that we obey these 3 building groups. So there's the chrono boost going on. Very good. We see a pylon getting planted right on time, a similar getting planted right on time. What we're going to see in these games is that the farther we go down, whereas Synth was at 36 actions per minute, it's going to get higher. I'll come back to that. As he does this build more and more, his APM will increase. Here's the Zealot coming down now. Ooh, we're actually getting a Zealot before we get a second gateway. That was a little bit of a difference from the last game. And now we are seeing, there's the Chrono Boost popping out on that one. There's the Sentry popping out on that one. Things seem pretty good. Are we forgetting any probes? Sometimes it's typical to just watch your Nexus. I could even hold down this Alt key to show the progress of everything here. Yep, still making stuff from here, still making stuff from these guys. And ooh, did you just see what I saw? This is part of the reason we do our building groups first. I want you to just look at this progress bar of the Sentry, this teal progress bar. And then I want you to look at this teal progress bar of the Gateway. Watch them. They're going to line up. Notice that these two teal progress bars finish at exactly the same time. Wasn't that nice? Didn't that feel good for you? That's like when you have a very well-cut jigsaw puzzle, and when you put the piece in, psh, ooh, I like that. If, for instance, you had a jigsaw puzzle where all the jigsaw pieces were cats, they would not fit in together nice. You know, get in there. I want to get the landscape to look nice, and you have to shove it in there. That's why we play this out, is because we like those nice, gentle moments where things align cleanly. We're seeing two zealots getting started right away. Here comes the probe out. Interestingly, notice that in this game, this expansion is actually popping up a little bit later. However, everything's looking a lot more smooth in terms of our build. So Synth now, he has his warp gate done. Oopsie daisies, getting a little bit of a late start, creating these into warp gates. This is popping out, you know, basically on time. And what else are we noticing in this game? Well, Synth is just making himself a lot of zealots. Alright, no big deal. We don't really care, we just kind of want to be making anything at all. We're seeing this time Synth isn't forgetting guys and gas. Again, this is all about buildings. And ooh, baby, look at that timing by Synth. And he remembered the rally point on the Nexus. Are you seeing progress get made? Oh, that's so good, right? Not forgetting the rally point, transferring things on time, putting guys in the assimilator. Boom, boom, boom. Brr, brr. It's looking good. We're starting to get some stalkers warped in. Cool. And there it is, the robotics bay. A couple things like, you know, we're starting to notice things like 48 of 76. You went a little pylon crazy, didn't you, Synth? That's fine. That's fine. We're not trying to refine this. We're not. We're only caring about getting the right amount of buildings to pop out. Now, what I wouldn't not note in this playthrough, now look at this. We're finishing up these two gateways so we can make actually another set of units. Did we want to make those before or after the gateway? These are questions we're not going to ask. Those are questions we ask in the refinement step or in the add unit mixes step. In the create building group step, we don't really care. And from game 1 to game 3, which is the one we're watching right now, we're watching game 3, we're seeing a dramatic improvement. Whoa, hey, we're actually getting freaking Colossus this time. Oh, I mean, we got our gas geysers. Woo, we're not quite getting up and operational and running on the gas geysers, but at least we've gotten in the habit of building them. And let me just note, I'm not saying that to, like, be teasing him. I'm just like, oh, yeah, he built gas geysers but didn't mine out of them. It's good to get in the habit of at least building them. It might sound like that's what I'm doing, but I'm not. I'm very, very serious about that. It's good that he's building geysers, and it's fine that he's not using them, because that is not part of this step. It is not. That is part of this step, where we want to start adding in the units, and we're actually going to need to spend that gas in a clever way. But I want to emphasize the same point that I made in Day 9 Daily number 285, which is the following. The brain needs to do things one at a time. There's a study that says your brain can only hold 7 plus or minus 2 things in there at once. So if you're trying to remember to, like, put guys in the geyser and to attack and to micro and to throw up your guardian shield and don't forget the constant worker production, the pylon, and this is the builder I'm doing, better not forget thermal lance, etc., 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 you're way more than 7. So, you know, just get used to building the buildings, and then later on get used to actually using the buildings. Once your brain has automated that whole process, that is automated the fundamentals of the build. So we're seeing some units get made every now and again. Yep, we see that some of these. Ooh, now we're going to be able to build an observer. We don't really have the gas for this Colossus to get made yet. We're just going to make some zealots and some stalkers. It ain't no thing. That's good. We're already seeing, ooh, this is looking a wee little bit better. This is looking a wee little bit better. Making a million billion pylons. Don't necessarily know if we like that or not. There's a Colossus getting started. And as you're doing your building group play, you'll notice things like, man, I am not using my thermal lance at all. I actually can't even get it. I can't even afford it. Where does he get that money from? Wow, I'm actually gas broke. I can start not another Colossus? Ugh. That's actually okay. That's okay, because now that we have our building groups down, and we've seen a lot more refinement, a lot better looking play from Senth after he just did his building group games, it's time to play some unit mix games, right? Where we're going to play between 3 and 5, in this case between 3 and 6, because we see 6 games from Senth. So I want to come back to what this add unit mixes is by coming into Senth's email that is, of course, beautifully written and color-coded. Again, if we scroll right on up here, creating building groups was the ones in red, and then filling in with unit mixes. So what Senth did is he rewatched this game, and he said, all right, my first group, 2 gateways, 1 core, 1 gas. What units get constructed in that mix? Well, it's 1 zealot, 1 sentry, and a few stalkers. That's what he wrote down. All right, group 2. When he's expanding, what gets built? A few stalkers, a few zealots. No sentries. That's a big thing I'm, noticing in that in that unit mix group. Wow, no sentries at all. And then after the expansion, a few sentries, a lot of zealots, a lot of stalkers, and of course, constant Colossus. One thing I suggested in the last daily, here are the words that you can use. 1, few, lots. That's all I allowed. I don't want you to get like, this is what I don't want. Let's look at bad. Bad! 3, 7, 12, if you can afford it. Right? I don't want this much specificity. Why? Well, it's the same reason I didn't want you to have things like this. I don't want you to have things like this because, again, no understanding, no intuition. If you get thrown off course, things go wrong. What if you don't play perfectly and you're like, well, I certainly do need that 7th sentry because I only have 6 now. Maybe you don't need the 7th sentry. Maybe you only needed it till the 8-minute mark. You can't get this exact until you have refined a lot. Exactness is the last step in any process. So since we're not at any last steps, stick with words like 1, a few, a lot, constant. I'm cool with that. I like constant. I'm into your word choice, Senth. So let's go ahead and load up in this beautifully organized folder. Let's go into PVT Part 2, 1. In Part 2, we're going to worry a lot more about unit mixes. And we're going to start to see this build come together because, again, units cost certain types of money. Ha, ha, ha. I'm so anal. That has to be there. Yes. Units cost a certain type of money, and that's going to influence when things get built. What we're actually going to see from Senth is that his gateways 3 and 4, that is, these gateways, are going to get built a lot later. A lot later because of what we learned in the unit mixes category. So let's pop back here. So let us re-remind ourselves of what's getting built in Group 1. 1 zealot, 1 sentry, and a few stalkers. Let's see how that pans out. Okay, so there's our gateway going down. And at the very end of this daily, what we're going to do before we watch the final refined game is we're going to rewatch Game 1 of Senth. This bronze level player. We're going to watch the first game he played, and then we're going to watch the very last game, and we are going to just marvel at how much better Senth is. Senth is actually going to look ridiculously accurately close to Naniwa. It's really cool. So there's the gateway going down. Okay, here's our cybernetics core finishing. So we're going to build 1 sentry. There it is. But we're not going to make that many more sentries because in our little list, oh yeah, 1 zealot, 1 sentry. Cool. Very good. All right, we're watching a little bit more closely. These should both be stalkers. Hey, look at this. I'm noticing that I had just enough gas for 2 stalkers. How marvelous. And I'm also noticing that when I come down here to expand, I don't have enough money quite yet. Look at him. He's at 300 money. Oh, I guess. Yeah, look at him wandering around. Building a freaking nexus. It's actually later than in the last 2 games. However, we have 2 stalkers now. There's the other stalker popping out. Rally point not set. We don't care. We're just trying to have really good little mixes on our units. So here we have more gateways popping out. We're going to build some more stalkers. Build the stalkers! Yes, there they come down. You're noticing that Synth is not starting his Robo Bay yet. He actually should be starting that second gas geyser. But in particular, he's not starting the Robo Bay. Why do I gripe on that point? Because in the very first game we saw Synth play, it looked like a guy sprinting for the gold, right? He's like, oh my god, I expanded, now build a Robo, now build 2 gateways, now start building Colossi. It was like, it was like as crazy fast as he possibly freaking could. But suddenly, by identifying that we should be building more stalkers, we're starting to go, hey, I guess I just can't afford the Robo that fast. We're starting to get some intuition built up. Alright, Synth, build your freaking gates. There you go. There you go! Building more units! He actually can build more units right now, and he likely should be, but now we're churning out some more Zealoteurs. There's the expansion down. Notice that these probes are actually coming to this expansion a little late. Of course that makes sense. Of course that makes plenty and plenty of sense, because you know what? Synth is now trying to focus on a new thing. It's easy for things like probe transfer that we've been, trying to focus on earlier to pop out of the brain, because the brain simply cannot handle that much stuff. Notice, Gateways 3 and 4 have not really been started yet. Those were started way earlier in the previous games. Makes sense, because Synth is actually making more expensive units. We're actually on to the second group. When we expand, a few stalkers and a few zealots, and no sentries. We should only have 1 sentry at this point. Confirm. I can confirm, Captain. Alright, cool. So now we're seeing the Observer get built. Here comes the Robo Bay. Overall, notice the money's a little bit lower for Synth. Come on, build the Robo Bay, Synth. Alright, God bless you. We now have our 2 gas geysers down. We can actually start Gateways 3 and 4 right now. Let's look at the APM. Wow, the APM's higher. Ooh, APM's higher. I'm going to talk about this at the very end, but I want to keep noting that as these games progress, the APM from Synth gets higher and higher and higher. Building pylons. Hey, look at that, 70 of 76. Before we kind of had an awkward game where we had like a billion. We had like 46 of 80. And hey, remember in that last game I was saying we don't have enough for thermal lance? In this game, we do. Whoa, you know what? You know what? In our building groups, only now are we adding on a few sentries. You'll notice here, 1 sentry. Here, no sentries. And now that we have our expand up, that's when we're getting sentries. Which means that, hey, I asked a question last game. Why couldn't we afford that extended thermal lance? Because we were making just too many sentries. Oh, isn't that neat? I mean, you could have written down Naniwa's exactly what he's doing, but all of a sudden, by just getting our building groups down first, getting used to that, and then stepping into the unit mix world, we're starting to realize that too many sentries early means no good tech for Colossus later. And we're noticing that, hey, in this second group, when I'm building all these stalkers and zealots, that actually delays these 2 gateways. And that's okay. It's not bad to have things happen later on, because you have zealots and stalkers early on, and those are muscular units that can do a lot of damage. Sentries really can't do a lot of damage. We're just trying to learn and become accustomed to the laws of the build. And again, by that, I mean like, hey, if I really want to get a Colossus fast, the law I have to abide by is don't build too many sentries early. I just have to obey. We're starting to get used to the constraints of this build order. So we're seeing a bigger army than in our previous games, because now we're focusing on the units. We're having Colossi out faster, and we're having upgrades for that Colossus done faster. We're still a little bit broke. Still kind of having high gas, a little bit low on the money. Still getting a little bit supply blocked. That's okay. It's okay. This is much more accurate. This is much more accurate. Now, what I want to do is I want to cut to one of the last unit mix games that we ended up seeing. And then we're going to step into the refinement games. So let's go to game, let's go on to 2, 4, 2, 5. I can't decide. I will flip a dice. It's a 5. All right, cool. I don't know what I would have done if a 4 or 5 didn't come up on the dice. I guess I would just keep rolling it. But that's fine. That's what we do when we live in adventurous day 9 zone. That's right. I do have dice next to my computer. Yes. Yes, Synth. Playing. All right. What is the goal of this game? Well, we are still in the adding in unit mixes phase, where we're getting used to the influence of when building what affects our buildings. When building what units affects when we can build what structures. So we're going to see more refinement naturally happening. I mean, I call the last step refinement, but refinement is naturally occurring throughout this whole process. It is not a big deal. I just call it refinement because the idea is that you're supposed to have all the knowledge of what to build and when to build units. This should all be automated when you go on to step 3. In this game, we're still trying to get used to when we're building things. So that way we can get it deeply ingrained in our frickin' head. Here comes Synth. Ooh, building a cybernetics core. And will he be building a zealot soon? Oh yes, indeed. It pops out right on time. Chrono boosts are happening a little bit more timidly. Speeding things up. Alright, cool. Here's a second gateway coming out. Placement's varying it up a little bit. We're seeing Sentry pop down. We're seeing the Chrono Boost on the Warp Gate. There's our pylon going down. Right on time. We're not missing any of them. You know, let's just keep our mouse over this Nexus and see if constant probe production does occur. Look, here are 2 stalkers. And hey, look! You see that Nexus? We didn't send our probe early that time. That got sent right on time because we were making the right units. And oh, look at this gas. Look how early this gas geyser's getting thrown down. Yeah, because, oh, yeah, look at how early that robo facility's being thrown down. That might be a little bit too early. We got to morph these guys to warp gates. Come on, Synth. Morph them to warp gates. Synth! Synth! Synth. Oh, Synth. Oh, no. Totally falling apart. Oh, thank God that wasn't a ladder game. Oh, I would have freaked out. I would have absolutely had to go to the hospital for an aneurysm. So we're seeing things happen, oh no, at a little bit of a barbled pace there. But I want you to note that the assimilator came up early. The robo facility came up earlier. In previous games, we were kind of hanging with absolutely no, or absolutely huge amounts of money and no robo or anything popping out. And this is kind of a funny result that can happen if you play a lot of games that, oops, suddenly it felt like you took a step back. You didn't execute everything as properly. This game, I would actually say, has parts that are better than game 2-1 and some parts that are worse. So you know what? Let's actually advance on to the last game of this unit mix. Yeah, we looked at this one. Let's go to game 2-6. Let's just check that one out. We want to have a good unit game where we're producing a lot of our units constantly, where we know when we cut what units. And then we're going to go on to the last phase of refinement. You know, in my little suggested list, I actually had 3 to 5 games. You'll notice Synth played another one. His 5th game was not actually so good. So you know what, Synth? Just like, sure, I'll just play another one and try to improve. That's all you want to be doing when you're repeating. Just making sure that you can work all these little kinks out. We saw that gigantic kink that made me want to vomit blood when the 2 gateways were not being warped to morphed to warp gates. That made me cry. There's a zealot coming out. Here comes the crisp timing on the pylon. Whoa. And there's that little guy coming out. Oh, there's the pylon popping up. Looking good, looking good. We're going to see the sentry pop out at the same time as the gateway. Boom! Alright, cool. We're building our 2 stalkers. We're sending a probe down. Ooh, I like that little move, building that one pylon there. There's our nexus coming down. And now we're going to morph these to warp gates. Morph these to warp gates. When that finishes, come on, please morph them to warp gates. Yeah! Yes! Yes, cheering! Embarrassment, but cheering! Yes, very good. Very good. Yes, Synth. Yes, yes, get him, Synth. Get him. Warp in some stalkers, Synth. Warp them in. Build some stalkers. Or zealots, that's fine. And there's the Robo Bay going down. Oh, look at how much lower the money is. Oh, I'm so relieved. Oh, thank goodness. And now, once these things are available to build some units, we should see some stalkers or zealots pop down. Why? Oh, stalkers popping down, because that's what's in our unit mix for the second group while we're expanding. And then once our Robo facility comes up, look, there's the Robo Bay coming down. Look at how low the money is. And then here, we can now build 2 more units. Come on, come on, come on, Synth. Come on, build some units, Synthy. Well, it looks like he's adding on 2 more of those. But if we could be building a couple more units here, we're noticing, man, I really need to delay gateways 3 and 4. But good, he ends up throwing them down. Fantastico. There's Robotics Bay popping down. We're going to see oh goodness, could it possibly be a Colossus? Could it be? Build a Colossus! Build a Colossus! And there it is going down. And hey, in just a second we will have enough money for the extended thermal lance. There's our extra gateways going down. The thermal lance will be starting itself soon. Soon, please. Please. Please start it. Please. Yeah. Alright, there it is. Going down. Excellent. Yeah, and our money's lower. And you know, things are looking better and better by the game. Now, this is a point in time where it's important to get some benchmarks. Now that we're getting ready to move on to step 3. What have we done thus far? We got inspired by Naniwa's play at MLG. Ooh, I love what you did. We created some building groups. Boom! Here are the building groups. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. We added in unit mixes to what was getting made in those building groups. Boom, boom, boom. We're feeling fantastic about our ability to steal a build. We've played maybe 10 games thus far. The build is in our blood. Our fingers are starting to do parts of the build without us really being conscious of it. Our fingers are going 4E to keep making probes, or BE, building extra pylons. Things are looking up. Now it's time to actually get some benchmarks. So we're going to scroll on down. Refine, refine, refine! So this is some things that we're seeing some notes right here from Synth. I noticed that a third gas is built directly when the expansion is finished, and the fourth one is a bit later. So that is a pretty important consideration to make, that we know in our building groups, we just have 2 gas, because we build 1 gas in group 1, 1 gas in group 2, and then 2 gas geysers in group 3. So yeah, we're going to end up with 4 gas total. But we've seen Synth in all his games just sort of throwing out 2 geysers just right when his expansion finishes. No reason not to do that. It's in the refinement step that we really want to start playing with some subtleties. So here's a big subtlety that we end up seeing. Yeah, you know what? I noticed that the third gas is built directly when the expansion is finished. Cool, cool, looks good. So here are some timings that we're ending up seeing from Naniwa. Look, there's the proxy pylon. He expands at 5 minutes and 30 seconds. This is when he begins the robotics facility and when the little attack happens. You actually notice in all these games there's been no attacking. That was part of the replay we saw from Naniwa. Why isn't Synth attacking? Because that's not what we're working on. We're working on the build. We're working on just trying to make the right shit, let alone like control it and be amazing with it and make decisions. We don't want to make decisions with our unit yet. We're trying to make decisions about when to build things. Ugh. Oh, don't overstress yourself. But now we just want to note this. So when the Robo Bay goes down, this is when the 2 gateways go down. This is when the extended thermal lance goes down. Move out to do a big push. Alright, cool. So, you'll also note that Synth went the extra distance and wrote down when everything is getting made, right? At 10 minutes, 49 probes, 6 stalkers, 2 sentries. Some units died in the push. 49 probes, 3 zealots, 10 stalkers, 2 sentries, 2 colossus, and 4 zealots being made at the proxy pylon. That is a great set of benchmarks. Let's actually go to game 3-3. Not the last and final game. We're going to save that for the grand finale. We're going to save that for the grand frickin' gosh darn finale. I know you guys wanted to watch the replay bar load, but you're going to look at me while that's loading. Hey. Alright, let's go into the game. Good, the game's loaded up. Alright, let's move forward. Synth, let's see. Refinement. I'm actually going to go through this game a couple of times. Let's keep our mouse hand over this nexus. This is always an important question. Constant probe production. We missed maybe 1 probe, 2 probes, but not by more than a couple of seconds. Is he still making it? Yeah, look at that probe production. Synth is a bronze level player. He is not the king of the world, right? He is you. Whoever you could be. Oops, forgot a probe there. Oops, forgot another little probe there. Oops, some long forgotten probes going on there. We're starting to notice, yeah, maybe not ultra refinement, but you know what? Making still about as many probes as he possibly could be, even trying to incorporate that push in that we see on the mini-map. But this is always a fun little exercise to do. Just looking at the probe count. And hey, you know what? It's pretty gosh darn constant. Money is a little high, but still looking pretty darn good. Let's rewind this game and get some comparisons. So this is when we want to say, okay, let's write down some other things, like when does the expansion occur? Let's check at 5:30 to see how our good friend Synth is doing. Let's see if we can spot any issues in this game in terms of the refinement. And, you know, I still have ignored exactly when what Chrono Boost is going where. I would worry that Cybernetics core was a little bit late. I would worry just a smidge about that. It looks like we made our Zealot early on accident. And I have a question for you guys. Why do you think that in every single game, Synth has been absolutely fine with that Cybernetics core timing, but in this game it was a little late? What could possibly be the result of that? I can actually tell you, I hit it! Oh, it's this probe right here. Synth sent a probe out to do scouting, and right when he should have been making the Cybernetics core, his focus was here. That is so normal! Whenever you have spent a huge amount of time trying to do this junk, and then suddenly you're trying to do an attack or a scout, your brain's, God, I can't handle this. That's okay. It's important that you did a good amount of these games at the get-go. So that way, you can end up eliminating those problems really, really fast, because your bones are going to want to have this really crisp, nice timing. There's 2 Stalkers coming out, and here we see the Nexus getting started. Hey, look! Nexus getting started at 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Let's go to the unit counting station. 25 probes, a Zealot, a Stalker, a Sentry. Naniwa had 26 probes, a Zealot, a Stalker, a Sentry. Okay, so maybe we missed out on one little probe. What was the next time that we had written down? 6 minutes and 40 seconds. Ooh, this is great by Synth. He's actually gearing up to do a little bit of a push. He's trying to incorporate this into his play. There go down the Zealots. There's his extra gas geyser. There's his robotics facility. 6 minutes and 40 seconds. Let me rewind to that really fast. What did our Protoss hero have? Well, Naniwa had 27 probes, 3 Zealots, 4 Stalkers, 1 Sentry. Hey, 27 probes, 3 Zealots, 2 Stalkers, 1 Sentry. Wait, did I notice something a little off? It looks like Naniwa had 1 more Zealot and 1 more Stalker. Did we just forget to build a set? Yeah, it looks like Synth actually just forgot to build a Zealot and a Stalker. So now, in the refinement process, Synth says to himself, okay, right when I want to start my Robo-Bay, I have to remember to make that extra Zealot, make that extra Stalker. Gotta remember to do that, And if I were taking notes, you know, again, this is play 3 to 6 more games, and I would have all sorts of refinement notes. I would have something like, you know, build Zealot and Stalker when Robo starts. Very easy note, just to remember. Like, I always forget that. Okay, cool. So we're going to see... Nope, didn't end up warping those in. Okay, there he is, getting warped in a little bit late. And here comes the attack that Synth is going to do. You're noticing that still a little bit of disorganization going on. It's totally fine. That's expected. And hey, look, Synth getting a 3rd gas geyser and then delaying the 4th one a little bit. We're going to see him actually having enough money to be able to get the extended thermal lance and the Colossus, unless he builds... No, he built too many sentries early on. Very typical to end up happening, you know, if you play through these games a lot. But, you know, you'll just end up doing the subtle readjustments. Ooh, yep, looks like he's getting pretty good. His money's getting a little bit high. He's trying to position everything outside the front, trying to rally everything. There's the 5th gateway coming down. Getting better and better. And I want you to note this APM is at 54. 54 APM. It went from 36 to 42 to 48, now to 55 as an average. And hey, Synth's money is actually kind of low, and is actually moving out with a pretty darn big attack. I'm going to back up to this last benchmark. I didn't do the 10-minute, but let's do the 12-minute. 12 minutes and 30 seconds, and then here's 12 minutes and 20. Now we're going to do 12 minutes and 10, and then back up. Bam! All right, cool. Let's go to the unit counting station and compare. 53 probes, an Observer, 1 Zealot, 2 Colossus, 8 Stalkers, 3 Sentries. And here we have... we have me maximizing the window. I'm going to slide this on over. There we go. Here we see 53 probes. Looks like Naniwa has a few more probes built. Naniwa has a couple more Stalkers, right? We have 8 Stalkers. He has 10. We have 4 Zealots. He has 3, so I guess I was just making a few too many Zealots. He has another Sentry. Or we have another Sentry than he does. But, you know, we have the 2 Colossi. Wait a minute. Oh, there's 4 Zealots being made in proxy, so I guess Naniwa has... It looks like 6 more probes and a couple of extra units starting earlier. But I just want to note that we're kind of seeing something incredible happen right here. A Bronze League player watched a game of Naniwa and said, I want to do that. And within 15 games, he's really close. It's pretty good, right? That's pretty darn good. So what I want to do really quickly here is just note one more set of notes that I loved that happened in the refinement step. These are Senth's notes to himself. Oops, I forgot the proxy pylon. Hey, my expansion is early. Whoa, I'm getting my my Robo Bay a full minute early. Oh, my 5th gateway is way early. Hey, big push, actually on time. Wow. And look at his notes. Here are my unit counts. Ooh, I'm 1 probe behind. I'm 1 stalker behind, but you know what? Naniwa cut probes. A lot of units behind. And I didn't end up losing any units. This is important to note that Naniwa did lose a couple of units. In fact, that's actually something that I would probably do. If you want to make things really realistic, in the game that we saw right at the start between Poke Bunny and Naniwa, Naniwa lost like, I would probably say, let's just pick a number, like 7 gateway units, 6 gateway units. I would count. And then, in my game, at the 7-minute mark, I would kill 6 of my units. Doesn't take any micro, you just go attack, click, 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 click. Alright, back to doing my base, and you just kill off your own units. So really, Naniwa is a little bit ahead in the probe count, is going to be a little bit ahead in units because he lost some and still has just as many units as we did. But hey, we're pretty close. So now for the grand finale. I am not going to show you the last game in this series quite yet. I'm going to go back to game number 1. This is game 1, and we're going to see the game 2 hours later. We've already seen game 1, but let's point out everything that goes wrong. Senth, let's bash you for a minute, my friend. Alright, he's chrono boosting. Oh, look at that gross APM. It'll be down in the 30s in a second. Lulz. Okay, we're seeing the Cybernetics core go down. No Zealot getting made. Oh, there's your second gateway going down before the Zealot. So this thing finishes. Let's start a sentry. Oop, our second gateway finishes at a choppy time. We get pylon block. We expand. We're super pylon block. Damn pylons. We're forgetting some probes here. Gas. We don't put any guys into there. We end up getting 2 gateways way freaking early. Our robo facility finishes, allowing us to successfully do nothing because we don't quite have the money to do it. It looks like we're put guys in gas. Oh, we gotta get some more gas geysers. Our APM is at 38. All right, not so good. Alright, looks like we're getting ready for the big push. And we're actually going to do a comparison at the 11-minute mark. I mean, like, no Colossi out at all. We're supposed to be doing a push with 2 Colossus with range in 45 seconds. Not going to happen. In the unit counting station, we also see that there's 39 probes. We're supposed to have 59 in the next 45 seconds. 59 probes is how many Naniwa had. Ooh. And then suddenly, look at what happens in the final game. Look at what happens. Everything's going wrong. Within just 2 hours of repeating builds and doing this process of getting building groups, getting unit mixes, refining a lot, let's look at how close of a representation this is to Naniwa's games. Build, little probes, build. And I want to talk about this APM that we've seen go up and up and up and up. A lot of people always ask, how do I play faster? I don't know if my hands are fast enough. It all has to do with your expectation and your memory. APM is the amount of decisions you're remembering to making, not the amount of decisions that your fingers can do. The reason that our bronze level player nearly doubles his APM is because his brain's just going, all right, now we got to build the gateways. All right, now we got to put guys in the gas. All right, now we got to build those stalkers. His brain is remembering all the things it needs to do in the build, and the only way to execute all of them is for the hands to naturally move around a little bit faster. So by planning, suddenly your hands are moving at a more rapid rate, and this is universally true. Sure that there are methods to maybe get a little bit of APM, but they'll never be useful APM unless there's an actual set of steps you're trying to follow. So, oh my gosh, let's look at Senth. Build the Zealot, and then it's going to be adding on his second gateway. Here comes the Sentry getting built. We're going to see the timing of the gateway, and the Sentry line up really well. Look at the 2 Stalkers getting started perfectly. Building the Nexus actually a few seconds ahead of Naniwa, and there's the Warp-In. We're even having the second gas go down. We're having the Whoopsie daisies, a little bit of a cancel on the Robo facility. Here are the units up here getting ready to do the warp in. And look at this, killing off some of his own units, trying to accurately represent some sort of confrontation. There is the third gas going down, and look at the money looking quite low. We're going to end up getting a robotics bay. We're still actually warping in stalkers, and look at Senth killing off some of his own stuff. Very good. Money's maintaining lowedness. We're going to see some more zealots get morphed in here. Here's Senth killing off more of his own units. There's the fourth gas. Zealots popping out. Here comes the robotics bay. It's going to end up starting. Yep, there is the... Whoa! Uh-oh. Did my computer just lock up? Uh-oh. 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 Am I still live? Am I still live? Oh my god. Am I still live? Am I still frickin' live? Alright. Computer appears to be dying. It appears to be going crazy. Alright. Alright, hold on. Hold on. Where's... Gamer. Gamer, type to me. Is my computer down? Did my computer crash? Heyo, am I still here? This happens to me every now and again. Oh, alright. My mouse literally doesn't work at all anymore. It doesn't work. It's broken. Let's see if we can do this daily with no mouse. Alright. I think the answer is no. I think the answer is that StarCraft 2 may have just crashed on me. Ugh. I would just like to note that ever since patch 1.3.1 came out, now we're on 1.3.2, it's just been like the most unstable program. Let me see if I can open up the email. Let's see. Alright, here we go. That's fine. Well, here, don't worry. Everything's cool. This daily's still going to be okay as long as I can stop the HD recording without having to reboot my computer. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Okay, let me hide back here again. So here is... Wow, my mouse doesn't work at all. My mouse is just totally non-functioning. All right, now look at this. Look at the conclusions. Don't forget probes and pylons. See this set of conclusions right here? But start skipping a probe or two around the first push. Don't be too early on the Expo, Robo, and Gateways. Chrono boost more. Cool, look, we see some conclusions that he's making. Look, mid-game notes. Look, I restarted some games due to the fact that I missed the pylon at 26. That's fine. Still included the games, just to show some big mistakes happen. And look at this. Here is his timings, right? Here is timings. Look at this. At the last push, I want you to direct your eyes towards that 12-minute mark. 56 probes, 7 zealots, 8 stalkers, 2 sentries. More stuff getting warped in. He didn't include that there were 2 Colossus with range there, but there are 2 Colossus with range. Come join me up here. Look at Naniwa. Look at Naniwa. Or, no, that's not Naniwa. Yeah, here we go. Come look at me at Naniwa. 59 probes compared to the 56 probes. Holy cow. Only 3 probes behind. That's how far behind he is. 3 zealots, 10 stalkers, 2 sentries. Wait a minute, did I see more zealots? Yes, indeed you did. 7 zealots, 8 stalkers. In fact... Alt-tab. In fact, Senth has a little bit bigger of an army. Sure, that probably means that Senth didn't kill off enough of his units, because Naniwa did lose a substantial amount of units. But you know what? That was an amazing example of how Senth refined to basically be at Naniwa caliber of execution within 20 games. Just by following that. Just by following this step of processes. Yeah, that's right. I don't need a mouse to do the show. Who does a show with a mouse? That archaic frickin' technology. But yeah, just by following this process has had an extraordinary amount of success. So I really would like to recommend that to you as well. Now, I would take questions, but I can't get to the IRC window. Damn. So that's going to have to wrap up the daily, I guess. I wanted to just state that for next week's Newbie Tuesday, it's going to be 2 vs. 2 week. So I was wondering if people would send me games of them struggling with a team that has no Zerg player on it. That is Protoss teams, Protoss Terran teams, or Terran teams. In the sort of the way that the game flow works in 2v2, Zergs have a lot of strength because if the Zerg 10 pools, he can cut off 2 allies from joining together. So that means that the Protoss and the Protoss can't join forces. And then the Zerg, even though he has a terrible economy, has a lot of Zerglings, and when his ally comes in, it's a 2-on-1 situation. So I would love it if people would send games of them struggling against a team that has a Zerg in it, but your team doesn't have a Zerg in it. Again, it's like Zerg Terran, Zerg Protoss, Zerg Zerg teams that you're struggling against when you're playing Protoss Protoss, Terran Protoss, or Terran Terran. For next week's Fun Day Monday, please send me the worst 2v2 partner of all time style games. One of those games where your opponent went Forge, cannon, 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 cannon in his base, and you were forced to win a 1v2. That's the sort of stuff that I want to see. It's going to go ahead and wrap up this daily. Chef is coming on tomorrow. So now what I have to do is I actually have to sit here and wait a little while. Where is my encoder? There it is. I'm going to Alt F4 this in a little bit, but I'm just going to hang out. Because ordinarily this is when I'd bring the overlay up. And you'd look at the overlay, but I had to close the overlay. Because my mouse just crashed on me. Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum. Just hanging out here, just waiting for people to catch up and buffer land. Hey gamer, why don't you post me something someone's asked in the chat? Daily's done. Daily's over with. You've learned everything you're going to learn today. But I currently don't have a mouse. I need to figure out a way to stop this HD recording. And I would like to figure that process out on my own after I've turned this off. Yep. Just going to wait. Just going to like count to 100. And I'm going to turn the stream off. There's nothing. Just go home. I'm done. I'm going to do State of the Game now if you guys want to tune into that. Justin.tv/ItMeJP. Is StarCraft 2 still crashing? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's crashing real good. It's crashing real good. Wow. Just hanging out. Still live, right? Still live, right, gamer? Hopefully. Just checking. Just checking, gamer. Yep, still live. It's fine. It's exactly what I want. I'm going to be turning off the encoder real soon now. Real soon. Got an unstable PC. I'm not going to lie to you. It's unstable. You can go ahead and close this now. Bye! Bye, guys! Bye! I can't close it. Ah! 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 Alright. Alright, I'm trying to figure out how... Anyone know how to... Okay, gamer, I need your help. Hey, yo. How do you close a window without Alt F4ing it? That's what I just tried to do for this one. But it wouldn't close. Trying to close my encoder. What if I hit escape? Control W. Trying to close my stream without my keyboard. What if I did a task manager? Oh, that's going to do it. Alright, I'm in my task manager. I have my encoder selected. How do I end the task? There it is. Hey, what's up, Adam? Yeah, I just closed it. It was an adventure. Oh man, that was a great daily, with the exception of the. I know, it's just, but you know, that's actually unrelated to my graphics card problems.